in the midst of a troublesome time, in the midst of a struggling economy, in the midst of sociological disparities, do you still believe? Paul said in Galatians 5:7, you did run well. Who did hinder you that you should not obey the truth? We have this testimony, and Paul have this experience, and sometimes I see this among us sometimes, that we run well, but we don't want to obey. We have good beginnings, but we don't want to endure. Maintain a focus. Paul said, I press toward the mark for the prize of high calling of God, which is in Christ Jesus. Paul said, I'm looking at my focus. I got my scope on Christ. You say, well, how can that be when I got work to do? How can that be when I got bills to pay? How can that be when I'm struggling with all these things in my life? Listen, my brother, you can't afford not to keep your focus on Christ. You can't afford not to keep your eye on Jesus, because you're constantly being pulled away from the center of your living life, simply because you never learn how to live in faith until you practice living in faith. Back in God's hand, that we can run this race, that we can endure the trouble that we go through. All of us have trouble. But trouble should not cause us to faint and quit and give up on God. Every now and then, trials and tribulations need to be a test for the faith that we proclaim. Knowing this, that the trial of your faith work patience. Patience gets you experience, experience gets you hope. Hope make it not ashamed. It is a progression toward rediscovering the who-ness of who you are. Amen. Just because you have trouble don't mean you throw in the towel. You got to learn to endure. What is endurance? The ability to persevere in a task or a calling. Watch this. Your life is a calling. You got to have the ability to persevere in that called life. You are justified by faith.